I've got my iced Americano with me, which is keeping me cool on this very, very warm day.
Nice. And I've got my Monster. Please sponsor us when you can.
Yeah, that'd be... I don't want to drink that, man. That's so bad for you. So processed, mate. So processed.
Hey, oh, here we go.
Here we go. Nah, I'm just messing with you. Also, how cool, by the way, did we mention in the last episode, the guy who shot the cover for Billie Eilish's album Underwater, I dropped him a message, and he's very keen to come on the show. So
very nice.
Yes, so that'll be happening, folks, in the next few weeks' time. I think we're going to record it not next week, week after, and obviously we've got to get it turned around and stuff, but that is coming, which is sick. I can't wait to ask him all these questions about how he shot that and, you know, what that was like for him.
Also, I told Steph about that, and Steph, she said that she's pretty sure she saw a behind-the-scenes video on YouTube of that shoot taking place. So now I'm like,
we need to watch that before we
need to watch that and speak to him about it.
Yes.
But yeah, that's really cool. That's exciting. And
sick.
Yeah, really cool.
So lots to get into today, folks. There's a couple of news things I want to speak about. Something about the new Sony RX1R, and we're going to touch on what's happening with Kodak at the moment, and then we're going to get into the main topics of primes versus zooms and just like our opinions on it, because I read something really interesting by a photographer that I'm really inspired by at the moment. And then we're going to get into gear minimalism, and then maybe a little listener challenge or our own challenge towards the end of the episode. So that's all to come. Firstly, how are you, Cameron, my dear friend?
I'm good, man. I'm good. It's been a busy week, actually.
Yeah, what have you been doing? When you were like, I can't record on Tuesday and Wednesday, I was thinking, fucking hell, what's he doing? What's he doing with his life?
So I was helping my mum update her website. So my mum sells like clothes online, like handmade clothing and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And she got a website on Shopify. And so we did like a photo shoot with Steph modeling and stuff like that in these clothes, and just a lot of work, bro.
So we did the stuff.
Yeah, we did the shoot, and then it was like getting the images turned around, and then it was also uploading the images, and then you know what parents are like, where they know how to use technology, but they're not as on it as much as like what we are. And so I dedicated Tuesday all day to just helping with the website, and then took a break on Wednesday, and then Thursday yesterday.
Thursday today, bro.
Oh, sorry. Oh, God, sorry. So it was Monday and then Tuesday off and then Wednesday.
Yeah.
And did that again yesterday. So it's really interesting, though, because I think you get an idea of, like, I was thinking, oh, so this is how, like, when clients obviously come to you, they understand, like, we need these photos for the banner on the front. Yeah. We need this for this. We need this for this. Because all of a sudden I was like, oh, we need like a dedicated picture just for this specific page for this specific thing.
Yeah.
And I got an understanding of like what the back end is like for, you know, Shopify and probably how most product websites work.
Yeah.
And obviously learned to use Shopify. So now all of a sudden it's really made me think like what we do is a service, right? But we don't have anything that we can apply our own services to unless you create like your own clothing brand or something. So all of a sudden, I'm like, I know how to use Shopify, I know how to do video, I know how to light, I know how to edit all this stuff, and I was just like, it almost incentivizes you to be like, I am probably in the situation you're in, and this is obviously you as well, where you have this skill and you know how to use Shopify or Squarespace or whatever the hell,
Photoshop or whatever. Yeah,
you're in like the best position to
make your own
try and sell something, because there's people that are like got products that don't know how to do any of that stuff, and they have to pay thousands to have you or me do it or whatever to make the marketing, and we just have all that kit just on demand. So the reason why I was helping my parents was because you've been selling for like 10 years doing this. Me and Steph have the camera gear, we have the lighting, we have the skills and stuff to be able to kind of like upgrade your stuff. So it was like, why don't we just do that?
Yeah, for sure.
But it's obviously
nice, man.
Quite time consuming still.
Yeah.
So it's been really good, man. So I've been really busy, but obviously it's been one of the more intense weeks of my last couple of months
of your fun employed life.
Yeah, exactly. So I'm like, damn, bro. But it did change my perspective a lot on, like, it makes me think like, I wonder if there's anything, you know, just to try.
Yeah.
Like, I think product things are definitely a lot, because they're separate from you, aren't they? Like, they don't involve you doing a service. It's like your dedication is to the product, and the product communicates to the customers compared to you having to communicate to the customers.
Yeah.
So as long as the product's good, then
I'm going through that at the moment.
Exactly, man. But I like it. I do like it, and it makes me think like
those that are watching. I'm pointing at my t-shirt I'm wearing because
this,
ladies and gents, yes, Let me show
Sorry,
them.
yeah.
Let me just do a little catwalk.
Yeah, go on.
Okay, so t-shirt size. Well, can you hear me?
Yeah, we can.
T-shirt size large.
Mm-hmm.
This is the on-location design. Back print.
Crouch down a bit. Yeah, there you go.
See that?
Yeah, it says on location, and for people that aren't visual and they're on the audio version, Matt's got like this retro kind of like sportsy vibe theme for his t-shirts, and it's got like the on set kind of like lingo. So this one says on location. Obviously for the video, I'll throw some actual images up as well as Matt just.
So I actually just
really.
I was just downstairs, and the plan for today also is to use my new Ricoh GR3 to just get some.
Oh wait, did you actually get it? Did you order it?
Yeah, it's arrived, bro.
Oh my god!
It's actually not. It's downstairs because I'm trying to get into the habit of keeping the camera near like either the front door in the kitchen because that's where I go whenever I leave the house. So I'm just trying to get
it up for the pod.
No, I was meant to, and then I came up with my coffee, and I can't be asked to go back downstairs.
Okay, that's understandable.
But yeah, so I'm just trying to get some shots of the t-shirts with it and stuff. I did obviously. I sent you a little video of me modeling all 6 of the t-shirts. There's 3 designs. Every design has
with your little clothing rail next to you.
Yeah, every design has a black and white colorway. So yeah, this is the on-location design, which I think is my favorite one. And obviously, I work with designer Elliot Stephen or Stevenson. Sorry, Elliot, if you're listening to this. I think it's. I'm just going to pull it up because.
Yeah, I think it is really cool. You've got the black, you've got the white, and I think did you do a blue one as well?
Yeah, so the people I've gone through, Elliot Stephen or Stefan. Anyway, I work with Elliot. I created a mood board of kind of like what I wanted, and it's obviously taken inspo from things I'm into. So like retro sport, kind of like vintage racing, all that kind of stuff. Made a bit of a, and we just went back and forth and ended up with 3 designs. Obviously paid him for the process and was like, if I'm going to do it, I want to do it properly, right? So I've had the idea for ages with the slogans. So we've got one t-shirt that says on location, another t-shirt that says on a recce, and another one that says show me the mood board on the back of it with like a big graphic. And I actually did a poll on my Instagram nearly a year and a half, 2 years ago. And I gave a list of 10 different slogans, and I asked my followers which were their favorite.
Oh, I think I remember this.
Yeah, with no context at all. And this was the 3 that got the highest votes, so we built the designs based off, these. So obviously, on location, on a recce, show me the mood board. These are all slogans that, are relevant to people in our industry. So anyway, the designs are finally here. Here's a little teaser of one of them. It's a nice boxy fit t-shirt. I'm wearing a large. Yeah, man, I'm excited for them to come out. I'll obviously just be teasing them and hyping them up over the following weeks, but you'll see us wearing them on the podcast. You'll see it on my Instagram and stuff. You'll see it on my stories, just little snippets of them. And obviously I created an Instagram page which is called London Camera Division, and there'll be content being teased and posted on that. So if you want to get your hands on one, I think I said this in the previous episode, so sorry if I repeat myself, but the mailing list is in the bio of my Instagram of the London Camera Division Instagram.
Well,
so
we can link it below in the show notes as well.
Thank you, brother.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, of course. But
so
also, like, if you slowly start over the weeks to see Matt wearing more jewelry, he starts having like Rolex on, he starts having like big diamond necklace, like this, what's happening is
I've sold a few
selling
t-shirts.
a lot.
Don't think selling a few t-shirts will get me a Rolex or some diamond rings, but we can try. We can try. But no, it's just I wanted to create some merch for the industry, like. I like to say it's on-set inspired apparel. So I'm not trying to be a fashion brand. I just want things that like I wanted to wear on set that were a little nod to our industry but still look cool. I think I've told you this before, but anyway. I'm also finding this because obviously I'm going to have to get the Shopify store set up. I'm going to have to take photos of the products, get creative with it. But luckily I have the skill set to be able to do that. So yeah.
Like, have you decided to use Shopify? Because in my experience, obviously I've used Squarespace, I've used Shopify, I've used... Was it? I can't remember the one. Is it Wix or whatever it is?
Wix, yeah.
Wix. And Shopify easily is like the easiest to use. Obviously, it's still got its complications with anyone who's got like a portfolio website knows that how much of a pain in the ass it is to eventually create one.
Well, I used Shopify before for, my Queens of Air print.
Oh yeah, yeah.
So that was on Shopify.
Okay.
So I have used Shopify before in the past. Basically, the platform that I've got these t-shirts from, they source the blanks, and then they also do the printing for me, and then they send it to the buyer anywhere in Europe. So
Yeah.
they kind of look after logistics. And I where was I going with that? Oh yeah,
It's usually what I do.
their system links with Shopify.
Okay.
So someone can buy it through Shopify, and they'll do the fulfillment and the back end order.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
So I will have to use Shopify just for that reason alone.
Okay.
But yeah,
Okay.
I've used it before, and I think it's good. So
Okay. Well, I think it is really good. It takes away a lot of the guessing, and everything just works. And it's like, oh man, like I almost want to. I don't know whether you could, but I almost, when I recreate my portfolio again, I almost want to have my portfolio on the Shopify website, even if like you're not going to obviously have a cart on it or anything. But I'm just like, man, it's way better.
yeah. But no, I'm looking forward to it. I've got a shoot on Tuesday. I'm doing a big personal project in the studio. Got a team together, and I'm just excited to wear this on set, man. Like, obviously, I wanted to create something that I could wear on set that I loved, and I feel like this is that. So I'm super excited to wear it on set on Tuesday, and obviously be getting some behind the scenes and stuff in it. So yeah man,
get some
buzzing.
in-person sales as well. Where you can be like, hey guys, you know, like,
what do you think? Yeah,
you're with this famous footballer, and you're like, hey man, do you like my my t-shirt? Obviously, it's on-set attire, I guess. Like, well, it's photography stuff basically, but don't know why a footballer would be interested. Never mind.
Well,
Never mind.
Cool,
Never
cool.
mind that. Yeah.
I went for a drink last night with some of my mates, and I wore this to that because it's like you can also get away with wearing it like day to day. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, I imagine so. I imagine it's just like you have to be on set to wear this stuff.
Yeah, it's a hard and fast rule. So anyway, let's get into the show. I don't want to ramble on for too long. First off, I want to chat about the new Sony RX1R III. Now, this is Sony's kind of full frame compact 61 megapixel camera with a fixed Zeiss lens of 35mm. And some YouTube videos were popping up the other day because I'm starting to watch more and more photography stuff on YouTube, and people were kind of doing a bit of a review on it. Oh, I was like, I thought someone was joining our call then when the screen went black, and I was like, who have you invited as a guest?
No, imagine if it was just like someone that you like, a super big photographer that you love or something. And I'm like, look, Matt.
Yeah.
Do you know what? Sorry to completely derail the conversation here, but I remember watching a diving podcast for underwater diving.
What the fuck were you watching that for?
This is ages ago, and they react to people that nearly, like, you know, died at sea, basically, where this guy got left out in the middle of the ocean for like 9 hours because the boat left. And then on the podcast, where they're like, so did this guy, like, did anything happen to him? Did he survive? And his co-host goes, well, it's funny you ask that, because we have him right here on the show. And his mate's like, what? And he's like, that's you? Oh my God. So I'll send you a link to after this, but
that's funny.
Sorry, yeah. Go back to what you were saying about.
Yeah, great segue. So yeah, you've got it up on screen here. So it's selling for over £4,000. Now that's kicked up quite a storm. So let me talk pros and cons. So pros, obviously, it's super light, it's sharp, it's got a really fast autofocus, it's super discreet for street photography and events and stuff. Cons are there's no inbuilt stabilization, there's no flip screen, you can't change your lens, and it's bloody pricey. So like you get amazing image quality, but many are saying it's not worth the £5,000 price tag. And what's really interesting is that basically you could buy, and this is why everyone is kind of kicking her first. So the price compared to a similarly spec'd, more versatile option like the Sony A7CR, which is only $3,000. So what's that, like £2,000? And that includes inbuilt stabilization. It includes a flip screen. It's got better video, and you can change the lenses on it for $2,000 less, which is wild. So kind of everyone's like, why have Sony kind of created this camera? Because it's like a bit of a, you know, it's a bit of a weird camera. Like obviously it's full frame 61 megapixel. You're getting amazing autofocus on it, etc. But you can get a very similar quality camera, which is the A7CR, but it's only $3,000, which is £2,000.
Well, I think what's weird though is that Sony are obviously notorious for doing stuff like this, where they release a camera in almost every single specific niche, to the point where you just have like a line of cameras that cover every little thing.
Yeah.
And then you end up with like, why does this camera exist when you can just get this one? And it's like, well, Sony's basically just making every camera for every possible scenario you can imagine. Yeah, I do think that this is actually quite expensive though.
But imagine spending like over £4,000 on a camera, and like you don't even get inbuilt stabilization. Do you know what I mean? Like,
yeah,
when you're spending that much money, so yeah,
yeah. Well, that's true because like we got the A7C, which is obviously it's a different type of camera, but like it was only I think like 1,800 or something.
yeah.
And it's like I expect it not to have image stabilization but at $4,000.
Yeah, but like
I don't
people are
know.
kind of pointing out. So you've got the A7CR, obviously, for £2,000 more. This camera is like merely gives you a slightly smaller body. That's it, and an older lens. It's got an older lens on it, and then and just fewer features. So it's just like for £2,000, it's like the same with watches and cars and stuff. Like, when you've got to spend way more just to get slightly better specs, there's like a point that you get to, and then it's like you're having to spend 30,
it's
40,
diminishing
50
returns.
grand more on a car. Yeah, so it's almost
diminishing returns.
yeah, similar to that. So just wanted to flag that up. I haven't had a hands-on experience with it. It'd be interesting to try. I imagine it's very similar to my sensor in terms of I've obviously got the Sony A7R III, which has got a 61, 62, or 64 megapixel full frame sensor.
Man, I thought you was a professional. You're supposed to know everything about your camera.
I know how to use
Everything.
I know how to make art with it. The specs are
Okay.
the specs. Do you know what I mean? But yeah, so it'd be interesting to edit, but I imagine it's very similar to the camera I use now. So yeah, just wanted to flag that up. Into the next news segment, Kodak's latest financial update.
Yeah, so I've obviously from the photography side, like I don't know too much about Kodak in a sense, or probably as much as photographers do. However, they are constantly like doing random stuff or constantly in trouble as far as I can tell, or they're constantly like on the losing side of like advancements and stuff. Obviously, because it's Kodak, but as far as I'm aware, didn't Kodak create like basically the fundamentals of like what camera technology is like today, and then they ended up out competing themselves, and then they ended up on the bottom of basically what they set the ground for? Like, is that what I understand?
I'm
and
not,
obviously, I'm going off the top of my head, so
yeah,
I
I'm
can
not
look
going to
into this
sit
after.
here and confirm or deny that because I don't know the true ins and outs, and there'll be someone listening that does. But Kodak have obviously struggled, like with the die-off of film. Digital came in, and they've obviously struggled a lot since then.
Yeah, they didn't advance. Is I think what I'm saying, where they didn't advance.
Film
kind of like
obviously was
else.
coming back, and everyone was buying Kodak again. Obviously, Kodak Portra is probably the 400 is the most popular film stock out there, and it's the most sold film stock, I imagine. But anyway, Kodak have issued a going concern warning that signals real doubt about its ability to continue without major debt solutions. The shares have plunged from around 25 to 15%, and it's interesting because I didn't know they did this. In order to get themselves out of a problem, they're now actually trying to pivot towards advanced materials and chemicals in pharmaceuticals. So they're starting with phosphate buffered saline, and they're moving towards IV saline production because it's got an
You might as well be
FDA-registered
talking
facility.
a different language, bro.
Yeah, but basically they're trying to move into the pharmaceutical world, which would you ever think that Kodak would be like doing stuff like that in their factories? Like,
I think they probably already are doing stuff like that in their factories, but what they're doing is pivoting into an industry where the skills that they have are more valuable. So, because they always say that like you can go and get a job in this place, and you can probably get paid like an average wage, or you can go and do it in an actual specific industry where what you're doing is actually specialized in that industry, and then you'll probably get like 3 times the amount. So, I understand what it's doing, but also with that, I want to. So when I was trying to, just before we started recording, I actually searched up Kodak, and an hour ago, it's been reported that they came out and said that it's all bullshit, all of these rumors, and they said that they're actually going to be debt free next year, and so they have no fucking idea where this stuff's coming from.
It does say that. So in my roundup of the news, it says the going concern statement is required reporting. Apparently, Kodak remains optimistic that the strategy moves will restore financial stability by the end of the year.
Now that sounds like a nicer way of putting it. The one I read made it sound like they were like, yeah, this is all BS. Like, we have no idea where this is coming from.
knows?
But I mean, companies obviously, in order to stop things from, because it's one of those things where the perceived badness almost makes it even worse. So like you might dip a little bit, but then if it's reported that you're going down, that causes you to go down even further. So you need to in turn kind of announce and be like, we're fine.
Also, if Kodak go into insolvency, what's the worst that will happen to us as photographers? I suppose the film stock would no longer be made, which would be a huge issue for a lot of people, I suspect. You know, if there's no more Portra 400, no more Portra Gold or Portra 800 available, like these are huge film stocks that everyone uses. But I have a sneaky suspicion that someone else would come in and just like do that side of the production and remake that. I don't know. It's like Polaroid stopped, and then basically a team of people came in to restart making Polaroid film again, the same way it used to be made.
Yeah, it would be like if Coke went out of business, and it's like someone else would just make Coca-Cola again, pretty much, just not call it Coca-Cola.
Yeah.
I do think that obviously these things exist, and kind of like it would be a big gap, and I do think that there would be almost a like not like a fail in advancement, but just kind of like these companies exist, and other people get ideas to then push the technology forward and stuff. And so I feel like if something like that was to happen, there's enough people around the world and that shoot film that like you would surely another company like even Leica, like I know Leica doesn't do stuff, but surely they would be like, why is film going out? Oh my god, like Kodak needs to come back. So I'm sure there'll be stuff like that happens. But,
well, only time will tell. Hey, only time will tell. I'm not too clued up on film. I don't shoot much of it. The only film that I do shoot is Polaroid nowadays. So there are listeners that know a lot more than we do. We're just updating you on the news. And that wraps up today's weekly news brief. I enjoy doing these news briefs. I feel like it's keeping me in touch with what's going on.
Well, another thing, just the last one is, because it's only really quick, is ChatGPT-5 released last week or 2 weeks ago.
Oh, fuck. Sorry.
Oh my god, Matt just nearly spilled his drink all over.
Do you know what's awful as well? I don't want to show the viewers my desk. I've got 8 hard drives sat on my desk, and this black coffee nearly went fucking everywhere. My heart just stopped. I need a minute.
Yeah, if
God.
Matt zoomed his camera out a little bit, you'd be able to see the travesty.
Fire.
But
sorry, yes, ChatGPT did come out with a new.
Yeah. ChatGPT, so all of those things that we spoke about in our AI episode, like 2 episodes ago, I think it was, they've no longer got all of those different versions of ChatGPT where it's like 03 and 4.0 and 4.5 and all this. They've simplified it to just ChatGPT-5 and then ChatGPT-5 Thinking, because ChatGPT-5 will decide for you which model you need for your request. And then yesterday, they updated it again so that if you actually click the ChatGPT-5 at the top, it says Thinking, or I think Fast or Auto. It's like Fast Thinking or
fast
Auto.
Thinking, yeah.
Yeah. And so basically,
as well.
Yeah, but if you actually choose Auto, it actually says ChatGPT-5 at the top when you choose that. So I think they're figuring out a way to make it like more consumer friendly for people that have no idea. Well, first of all, the people that use ChatGPT all the time didn't even understand what 03 and 4.0 meant. They were just like, why are they calling it this?
Yeah.
But it's nice because it means that everything's you can have like one model now, and you can just search whatever, and it'll use the one that you need. So that's quite nice. So it basically, all that key information we spoke about a few episodes ago
fucking irrelevant.
is just irrelevant now.
Bringing it back to photography, I've currently got ChatGPT 5.0 working for me in the background at the moment because I didn't realise you can integrate it with Canva. So I've got a shoot on Tuesday. I'm putting the call sheet together, all the details, all the crew, nearest hospital, parking, like how to get there via tube, all the stuff, my mood board I've created, the backdrop colors we're using, and it's just mashing it all together for me and creating a template for me to then go into Canva and edit it or whatever. It's taking 35 to 40 minutes, it's saying, but it's running in the background, which is just a game changer. We're doing these kind of admin tasks.
Well, it's amazing that you can do the podcast, and whilst you're doing the podcast, you can just have ChatGPT doing up like this deck and stuff like that. It's
working on it for me. Yeah. So I don't know. It might be ready during the show. If it is, we can maybe open it up and have a look. But it'll be because I was trying to get it to do it in ChatGPT, and it just wasn't quite looking how I wanted it to look. And I was giving it a design reference, and it just was missing the mark so badly. Like I had all of the details on there, but it just looked so fucking basic. So I was like, look, here's a design reference. I want you to create this in Canva of how I want it to be designed with the colors and the text and all that kind of stuff, and fill in the key details, but allow me to be able to like edit it. So it's giving me an editable Canva link, and it's working on it at the moment in the background. So
Yeah, that's a really good point, actually, because I think the limitations are on the generation side. But if you can give it the app and be like, yo, all the tools that you need are in this, like Canva, like just go and use these.
This is the first time I've used it cross-wide with Canva, and I think I sent you a video the other day that I didn't realize that I watched a YouTube video and they were like, yeah, like it links up with Canva, like you can get it to do stuff and it'll open it in Canva and all that kind of stuff. So we'll see how it goes. But good to bring that up. Good to bring that up. Let's get into today's show topics.
So it's primes versus zooms.
Yeah, so basically there's a really, really talented photographer called Cortney White. Follow her on Instagram. She was actually featured in this week's newsletter in the Creative of the Week. Basically,
Sign up to the newsletter, by the way.
Yeah, sign up to the newsletter. She recently shot the US National Athletic Championships, and she put a story up today, and I actually replied to it. She doesn't follow me. She'll probably not get back to me. But I replied to it anyway, just to say thank you for this insight, because it's super interesting. Now, she basically said that she shot 90% of the US National Athletics Champs on a 50mm and 135mm prime. Her work is incredible. Cameron, can you actually pull up? Are you logged into Instagram?
I am literally doing it as we speak.
So her name is Courtney White, spelled C-O-R-T, no U. Cortney White. I follow her. Okay. Anyway, the cover image is of a man throwing up. And that sounds
I saw this.
It's fucking wild.
I don't actually follow Cortney, but I did see this.
So her work's incredible. But anyway, so 90% of these images, if not all of them, were shot on a 50mm. Cameron's just putting it on screen now for those viewing.
There you go.
So yeah, click on that. The guy throwing up. So
my God.
Yeah, so have a flick through these while I'm chatting away. So these were shot mainly on 50mm and 135mm prime. Oh
my God,
basically, she was saying how it's kind of rolling the dice a bit in terms of, you know, not shooting an athletics event on a 70-200, for example, where you've got the flexibility. But she thinks it's a payoff and it's more of a risk for her, but it's more rewarding. And he said that primes make her way more deliberate and focused. And she was saying how all those athletes that were 1 meter away from my lens that were kind of waving at the camera, those shots don't exist. You think you got a photo, but obviously I was shooting on 135mm and I don't have the ability to zoom in or out. But it makes it her way more deliberate with her shots, which I just thought was really interesting. And I wanted to chat to you, Cameron, about it because I have not really shot on any, like, I've shot on a prime lens before, but like all the lenses in my arsenal that I use day in, day out, 24-70 G Master, 70-200 G Master, and I've heard amazing things about, you know, the 50mm prime, the 85mm prime, the 35mm prime, and obviously she's used 135mm prime. And I wanted to like bring up this kind of discussion, and listeners, please drop a comment below or get in touch. Are primes better? Do they produce a better image quality? Because if so, I'd love to know.
Primes are usually a lot sharper.
See, but the 70-200 G Master Mark II is so sharp. I wouldn't want anything sharper. But well, like, is the image quality like noticeably better? Like, you know, is this a creative risk worth taking? I just wanted to open up this discussion because it's really interesting.
Yeah, so I want to preface it with saying that I obviously only know a lot more about the video side of things. So obviously, primes to me is like cinema lenses, which you're probably not going to stick on a photo camera and start running around with. But as far as I'm aware, like primes are, you get a lot more of like a, not necessarily a clean image, but just like more of like what you expect. And there's, I guess, like less distortion unless you create the distortion. And again, like sharpness and I can't think of the word. There is another word, but it's just, I'm missing it at the moment, but there's like another way. So
interesting.
At least that's as far. And obviously limitation in creativity is almost the what you need in order to be creative in a way.
It
So if
forces
you,
you. Do you know what I mean? It forces you to
yeah,
make decisions. Because she was. I'm actually just going to pull up her story so I can, say it word for word because I don't want to. I don't want to butcher it.
mm, yeah,
She basically said, "Here's a fun little fact that I thought sports and photo people might like. I shot about 90% of the meet with the 135 prime and the 50mm prime. She tested out the 70 to 200 and the 35 to see if I'd be bummed out on committing to the primes and decided the primes were worth the risk. She's sharing this because she thinks it's easy to fall into the correct lenses, what the correct lenses are, quote unquote, for events. But she says she leans into it with the best. She said, but I say lean into what's best for you. Shooting primes makes me so much more deliberate on where I shoot from and what I want to capture. It's definitely a risk at times, but I love leaning into the risk. So athletes, if you posed for a photo that was a foot away from my camera, I'm sorry, but I'm for sure didn't get that shot. Ha ha ha. Which is so interesting. And
you
it
know
kind of
that. Oh, sorry, go on. Sorry.
well, I'm just saying, like, it makes me now want to hire a prime. When Ron came on the show, he talked about, I think it was the 85mm and how good the 50mm Sony primes were. And I just think I would love to hire it now and just have a play with it and see what the difference is, just out of curiosity.
Yeah, the only difference that comes to mind as well is that usually primes have a wider aperture. So you might be able to go to like a 1.8 or a 1.4 compared to the zooms where they typically on Sony's go down to 2.8.
Yeah,
Um,
true. Better
so
in low light.
yeah, so there is that as well. I think as well, like personally for me, I do like the 50mm. I like a 50 or an 80 usually. Just because again that they're like the portrait kind of lenses, but I think they're
Yeah.
also just like the most well-rounded ones if it's in a prime. Yeah, Ron speaks about it a lot, but
Yeah, I think because I just have a nifty 50 for my Sony, but it's literally
mm,
the cheap Amazon. Could you do us a
yeah,
favor and pull up the Sony website and just go on their prime lenses and kind of see what's available? Because I've got the nifty 50 prime lens, which from Sony, which you can get on Amazon for 150 quid. And when me and Yaz went to Sardinia, I wanted a cheap lens that I could throw on my R5 that if I dropped it or broke it, it wasn't the end of the world. Like, so
mm,
I got on with it okay. The autofocus on it's pretty fucking shit. And sorry for swearing. And it's just obviously nowhere near as good as the G Master lenses. But I'd be curious to know what lenses, prime lenses that Sony has to offer. I imagine this would be the same for Canon will have an equivalent, and Fuji will probably have an equivalent as well. But I think the most popular ones are obviously the 50 and the 85. But the one she used, the 135mm prime. I don't know what f-stop that is, but I bet that's a really nice lens to use. I'm now really curious after what she said about using it and having a go with it.
yeah. So one thing that's quite annoying is that Sony doesn't just like line their lenses up. So this entire page is just the different lenses. So they've got the 14mm f1.8.
Super wide, yeah.
Yeah, they've got the 24
Okay,
f1.4.
yeah.
They've got the 35
See,
f1.4. So you can,
I've heard the 35 is really nice from
yeah,
people I've
yeah,
spoken
yeah,
to, as just like more of a documentary kind of style lens.
yeah. Well, this is the thing as well, though. Like when you're thinking of these things, usually you're thinking about the lightweightness, and you're thinking about if you're shooting in low light. So if it's dark, you probably want to shoot on a prime just because you can stop down to f1.4.
Yeah,
But then if you're on like this guy in the picture, for example, is on a gimbal. He's probably thinking about the lightness of his cell. Like the 24-70s and the zoom lenses are actually fairly heavy for what they
they
are.
are heavy.
Um,
They are very heavy.
so usually those are the two main factors. But yeah, like 35 f1.4, like 50mm f1.2.
I didn't realize it went to 1.2.
See, yeah, but also it's really weird though because like if you are shooting documentary, you usually don't want to go to 1.2 or
Well,
1.4 because
it's interesting how it says lens for video. It says it's more of a, is it more of a
yeah.
video lens?
Well, lens for video, but well, I imagine also because it's G Master and they've got like the autofocus tracking and shit like that.
Yeah, yeah.
But it's just like usually on a documentary, you don't want to stop to 1.2.
It's
so
when
much
the nose is in focus and the eyes are out of focus.
Exactly,
Like,
exactly.
yeah.
So usually, at least on documentary stuff, you do want to keep things a little bit
Yeah.
more.
Oh, there it
Overall.
is. Full
Yeah,
frame,
135.
135mm, 1.8. Do you know
Hmm.
what? In that photo, just click on that view product. It looks small.
Well, when I go and view products, I actually don't think they. Oh wow! I clicked view products on the other lens, and it brought up with like another advertisement page, pretty much. Um, yeah,
Nothing's
this looks pretty
changed.
small, to be
I
honest.
can't see it on.
Ah,
If you've clicked,
there we go. Sorry,
there we go.
I opened it in a different tab by mistake.
That looks small, man. Like
I
for a
wonder if I
135
play,
mm
if
lens,
I, if
that
I
looks
play this
smaller than the
video,
24-70.
is there like a picture of this lens on the camera?
Mm,
I mean, it doesn't. It
that's
looks
with the
fairly
lens
small.
hood on, though. That's with the lens hood. It looks small. Okay, do you know
Oh,
what?
hold on,
I'm gonna have to hire this lens.
Man, they've got all the bloody YouTube shit all over
Just
the
keep
screen.
scrolling
So
down.
we
Keep
can't
scrolling.
see
Keep
it.
scrolling down. I'm gonna have to hire this lens. It looks pretty. Look at that.
Oh my god, that's crazy.
Yeah. Actually, I
Yeah.
don't know if that is the same lens.
Yeah, that doesn't even look
No.
like
Yeah.
the
Keep going.
same
Keep going.
lens.
Keep going. It looks small. I'm pretty blown
Oh
away
my
by how
God.
small that looks for a
Yeah,
135 mil. Oh, it's 127 mil long at the bottom. Keep going
yeah,
down.
but like, why don't they just have a picture of the lens on the camera?
Keep going down. I feel like right. Does it say it's what 100? Go all the way to the bottom. It says the length at the bottom, and it's only 1,500. I say that like that's still a lot of money. Keep going. Keep going. Keep going. Keep going down.
Oh my god, there we go.
127 mil. Where's my tape measure?
Oh my god.
I'm genuinely curious about this. So it's 127 mil. So it's 3.5. Wait, does it say 3.5 to 8 inches? Does it zoom? What? Are you reading that? It says 3.5 over 8 inches.
Just measure 127 mil on your tape measure, bro.
Wait, what is 127 mil in centimeters? I'm having a really blonde moment on the show.
This is why AI and everything is so bad, because you end up not being able to do basic shit. So
Okay,
in
that's
inches, it's
small.
5 inches. 5 inches.
Yeah, I'm bang on 5. See, I wasn't having a blonde moment. I knew what I was
Is
doing.
5 inches small, Matt? Is it? Oh no!
Right, this is a family show. Less of that. So look, this is my 50 mil, which is tiny, and it's only that much bigger.
Wait. Let me stop sharing my screen because then
It's only that much bigger. So that's pretty. It's a pretty small lens. Sorry, like this. That's a pretty small lens. It's only 2 inches bigger than the Nifty 50. I am going to have to hire this lens. I'm genuinely intrigued by it.
So Matt gets a 70 to 200, and now he's like, I need a 135.
Now I want to bin it off. No. Okay. Let's move on from that. I'm gonna let this sit, and I'm gonna watch some. Do you know what I'll do this afternoon? I'm gonna watch some YouTube reviews. If there's anyone that has used the 135, please let us know what that's like, and we can talk about your comments on the show.
Yeah, and also Cortney's work is sick.
It's incredible.
Yeah, that was so cool.
So
I love
good.
how like kind of graphic it was as well, where it's just like the guy being sick. It's like
Yeah,
the
it's
fact
just
that you
real.
chose that. Usually, if you're shooting right,
Would you
would you be like, it's like shooting someone eating. It's like you kind of avoid people who are eating because they inevitably just always look ugly. But that I don't know, it's funny to it's like raw and authentic.
Yeah.
To be like,
No.
yeah, this guy's just like spewing.
So go check out Cortney's work, and I just wanted to bring up that topic. And I don't really know the answer myself. I suppose I just need to go out and try these lenses and experiment for myself. But I thought her, insight and the way she looks into stuff and the way she kind of viewed it was interesting. Challenges her further. So, yeah. Anyway, I want to get into gear minimalism next.
Okay.
So, obviously, I've just bought the Ricoh, super small. I'm seeing a lot of people enjoy the Fuji X100 4, 5, 6 or whatever it is, X100V, whatever. Anyway, basically Fuji's equivalent. And I've seen people shoot incredible campaigns just on this little, just like people do with the Leica. And, is carrying less gear actually more freeing? Because it kind of, when you've got too much choice and you've got all these lenses and you've got the 70-200 and the 135mm whatever, it's a bit overstimulating. There's almost too much choice, right? So, especially at events. So, is kind of simplicity, like, it can help focus you in, and almost going back to what Cortney says, right, I've got these 2 prime lenses, that's my only decisions for the day, and that's all I'm shooting on. And, I think minimal gear is a mindset shift that seems to be happening a lot more, and there's more constraint, but it's more freeing. What do you think?
I think nowadays, especially, it's easier to do that because I think there's less sacrifice. It used to be in the past where if you had less gear, you technically couldn't shoot certain stuff, or maybe
True.
if you had like a smaller camera, it didn't do 4K, at least on the video side. Whereas nowadays, it's like you can get away with a few things, but I do also think it comes down to your like, do you have like the evidence that you are good at what you do? Because Cortney, for example, she's got sick work. Clearly, she knows what she's doing, and so when she makes those decisions to shoot on only 2 lenses, people are like, yeah, but the work's still gonna look sick. Whereas if you're like a beginner and you're like, I only have 1 lens, bro, this is what we're doing the shoot on, it's a
Yeah.
little bit like, is this gonna like ruin our shoot if so I think in a way there's like those two things that come up when I think of that. But for personally in my life, like we just got the Sony A7C II, which is obviously like a lot smaller and it's a mirrorless point and shoot well, it's not point and shoot, mirrorless camera.
Yeah.
And I would probably shoot 90% of stuff on that. And I have like an FX6 in the background, and it's like, but look at it. Look at the state of that shit, bro. Do you think I'm taking that just like down the road to do stuff?
Yeah.
So there's this thing where it's like if you are a professional and you've got experience and you've got evidence that you know what you're doing, then it's a lot easier to be like, I'm not going to take the FX6 on this shoot because I can get the same shot just on this other camera that's a lot smaller.
It's this. How do I say it? There's less barrier to entry when you've got a smaller, more minimal setup, right? So
Yeah.
my little Ricoh, like
Definitely situational dependent.
Yeah, so like my little Ricoh, I'm like, oh well, it fits in my pocket. I can take it anywhere I go to any event. If I'm in a football match, if I'm in like just anything, if I go to a cycling event, or I go to this little thing with Yaz, or I go to a cafe, I can pull that out and start shooting, and there's no barrier to entry. Whereas if I pull out this fucking hefty commercial camera with a zoom lens, everyone is like, oh no, you gotta have permission for that, you can't do that, you can't do this.
That's a really good point.
Whereas I could go to a cycling event on a weekend, probably get some pretty sick photos on the Ricoh, whilst I'm stood at the barrier and I'm really close to the riders. But the minute I've got this big camera and you need a photography pass and all that kind of stuff. So I just think actually this minimal gear there's less of a footprint, so you're more incognito. I know a lot of street photographers use it as well for that reason, and use the Fujis and the Leicas because they're very discreet.
Yeah.
And so, for example, I went for a drink last night with my friends. We were around my mate Matt's house, just sat in his garden. I took my Ricoh with me. I didn't actually shoot anything, but I took it with me. I would never take my Sony with me with like a lens attached to it, and they'd be like, "What the fuck have you bought that here for?" Whereas I could go to a pub and I've got the Ricoh sat on the table, and not a single person will question it. Super small, it's incognito. It's not serious. It's not deemed as like this serious. So I think just your barrier to entry with these small, more kind of minimalistic setups allow you to get, more maybe natural things where people aren't as guarded because they see a big camera with a big lens on. Because when people see that, I think they kind of freeze up a bit and they start acting differently, even if it's subconsciously. So,
that is a good point. Yeah. I think you do bring up a good thing about like how you're perceived, and I think let's just think of it from like the professional client side, and having, at least on video, having a big camera is like a bit of a status thing where if I'm on set and someone's paying like 10 grand, then they don't want.
Yeah.
Now, obviously, as the creative, you know that I could just get this on like any camera realistically and it look just as good. But people want to see like where their money is kind of going. So on the professional side of the businessy stuff, like there is that element of, well, you want the client to feel like, oh, our shoot is like dead professional, and oh, we've got a crew and we've got like these big lights, and you're like, well, I could just light this with like an aperture, but yeah, we'll have like this giant scrim and we'll shoot it for a bounce and all this. And so there is that perception. And then as you mentioned in public, but people are obviously a lot more relaxed nowadays because of how much content there is, and you've got TikTok and social media and everything, but there's still this element of, mate, like you can't bring that in here, and you're like, why? And they're like, well, it just looks like a big camera. And you're like, it's literally a mirrorless Sony with like a 2470. It's not that big. And it's like, yeah, but it looks professional to us. And you're like, bro, fine. So
So if you can use
there
your
is
tool
that.
correctly and you can use your tiny minimal camera and get some incredible things with
Yeah.
it, when obviously the technology is getting so good, like in that little
Mm.
Ricoh, I've got a 24 megapixel sensor. It's just like
Mm.
I can get some really cool stuff with that, but I can fit it in my pocket and take it into little places with me that I wouldn't be able to take a professional camera. So
Yeah. The,
yeah,
I
gives you
think
access.
I think where you would use a smaller camera on the professional side is if you know that the people that you're going to be shooting at this shoot are nervous about a camera or they've never done it before, you might use a smaller camera so that they're more comfortable on camera. So that's maybe where you could get away with on a client project being like, we're going to bring a smaller camera, but it's for this specific reason.
I think that works if it's more of a
Mm.
documentary kind of esque.
Yeah,
If
if
you're
it's like
fly on the wall,
well,
if you're in a
you
studio,
shot.
obviously you're going to need a certain type
Yeah,
of
yeah,
camera.
yeah,
You
yeah.
know.
But like yeah, again, like if you know that the people that you're shooting maybe they really don't like cameras, and you're like, I wonder how I can make this as comfortable as possible.
Yeah,
Yeah, you can probably just do it on a little bit more of a, and then the client would understand as well,
for sure.
and would be on board with it. Yeah, man. Yeah, I think that's a really good point because it just, when you're first starting, especially, you want all the biggest and best gear, and then eventually you're like, why do I have this? Or the next camera you get is like way smaller, and you think, wow, like definitely the perception changes.
It's about what you do with it. It's about what you do with it. So, yeah, man, interesting.
Okay, well,
Let's wrap it up towards the end of the show.
mhm.
Now, there's I want to set maybe a bit of either a listener challenge or a bit of our own challenge, but I kind of now want to go out and I think based off what Cortney said and what we've discussed, I would like to try and rent a Prime, borrow a Prime off someone that I know, even if it's just going for a photo walk or going for a walk with your partner, on a little countryside walk or in the city, or you maybe decide to do a little shoot. Use a Prime, and that's the only lens you've got, and challenge yourself and see how it forces you to move differently, set up shots differently, and kind of just think outside the box. So yeah, I think it'll just be an interesting challenge to see how limiting the gear boosts the creativity levels.
Okay.
So I want to try and do that.
Okay, I think what I might do on my side is, so I need to film my next YouTube video. So I might film it all just on a Prime. Now I usually use a 24-70 or the normal Sony 35 f1.8.
Yeah.
So maybe I would use the 35mm, maybe.
Do you have a 50?
I don't have a 50, no.
Oh.
I never got the...
Yeah.
Very strange, yeah. Like I look back on like the gear I've got for lenses and I'm like, why do I only have the 35? Basically, other than the normal 24-70.
I was going to say you could fat llama a 50 or an 80mm, but then actually,
I don't
does
think
fat
that
llama
exists
exist
here,
around you? Where you
They definitely have like rental houses in Manchester, but that's still like an hour and a half away, bro. Yeah. But yeah, I think that would be interesting. I usually shoot my YouTube videos obviously in this room, in this space.
Yeah.
So I think that would be nice to figure out, like if I am stuck on a fixed lens, obviously the room isn't as big
angles.
as this lens that you're on right now is the 10-18.
Right. Wow.
And I think
Super
you're currently at 12.
Damn.
You're on a 12mm right now looking at me.
Okay. Good to know.
So yeah, I think that would be interesting, bro. Yeah.
Sweet.
So I'll do that.
Do it. We can let the listeners know how you get on, how I get on in a future episode.
Mm-hmm.
In terms of what's coming up, I've got this personal project that I'm doing on Tuesday in the studio, and I'm so excited, man. I'm so excited. It'll actually be the day this comes out. If you're listening to the show, folks, on the day this comes out, I'll be sweating my ass off in a studio in North London, trying to make some magic. I'm going for like on running the brand. It's like a bit of a spec ad for them. Got some really cool talent in who he's really cool, and I think he will photograph really well. We've got some cool textured backdrops. Yeah, should I pull the mood board up so they can see kind of?
Yeah, I think that'd be really good. Do you know what? One thing I would like to do as well, like maybe in a future episode, is have you go through probably what you do for your personal projects.
Yeah,
like,
we can break down this one once it's finished for sure.
Yeah.
There we go.
Oh, lovely. Okay.
So this is the mood board. The guy who I've got coming in is like he does all these mad backflips and he can make it look like he's floating like in the air, like Matrix style and all that kind of stuff. He's super talented guy. He's done some work with them before, so he's already got all the kit. So when I'm obviously I feel like this should be a whole other episode. But obviously, when I'm thinking about who I want to shoot and the style, it helps if the person he's got all the on clothing. So it also
Okay.
then makes double sense for me to use him because we can style him in the clothes he's got. Does that make sense? So just thinking about like barriers to entry and stuff. But this is my mood board. I'm sharing it briefly. So let's see if I get anything that kind of looks like this. But
Yeah.
when this show comes out, I'll be in the studio trying to make this kind of thing. So yeah,
Yeah.
sit tight,
So, well,
folks.
well, real quick, just whilst you've got this on screen, what made you choose these images?
Bro, I think this is a whole other episode.
Really? You want
Yeah,
not even just
bro,
like a
yeah.
quick one whilst the
Because I
mood
want
board's
to,
on?
I would break down the whole shoot, like. So I think
Okay,
this would be
okay,
part of a
okay.
whole. I think this is part of a
Well,
bigger episode. So
well, sorry guys, you can't say I didn't try. Matt's
yeah,
keeping it close to his chest.
this is
for
a
now.
really good episode topic, like breaking down an entire shoot start to finish, why I
Okay.
chose the images, creating the mood board, blah blah blah. So
Yeah, so don't
um,
mess the images up when you shoot them. Make sure the shoot comes out really good
yeah,
because
I'll
we
try.
need to. We don't want to be breaking down some like.
I'll try my best.
But then again, he is Matt Pearson, so does he ever do a bad shoot?
Yes, I
No.
do. Yes, I do. Okay, well, let's end the show there. If you made it this far, guys, we really appreciate you. Thanks so much for listening and supporting the show. If you haven't already, please leave a nice 5-star review on Spotify. It helps us be seen by new people, if you think we're 5-star worthy, of course. And if you haven't already, please subscribe to our newsletter. It's in our Instagram bio. And yeah, we will see you on the next show.
Yeah, guys, thank you so much, and we will see you next week.
Bye-bye.
Bye.